Gene therapy, the future of medicine? Gene therapy's future remains bright despite Elevidys setbacks. Roche's unwavering faith. The recent controversies surrounding Elevidys have not shaken Roche's confidence in the transformative potential of gene therapies, according to the Swiss pharmaceutical giant's pharmaceutical division head. As reported by Fierce Biotech, Roche is actively broadening its research horizons beyond its traditional stronghold in oncology. In April, both Roche and its collaborator, Sarepta Therapeutics, halted trials of Elevidys following the tragic death of a 16-year-old patient in the U.S. Consequently, Roche, which markets Elevidys outside the U.S., ceased all ex-U.S. commercial distribution of the drug for non-ambulatory patients. Meanwhile, the FDA requested Sarepta to stop shipping Elevidys in the U.S. Roche also paused shipments in all patients in countries where Elevidys approvals were tied to the FDA stance. However, Roche Pharma CEO Teresa Graham refuted suggestions that the Elevidys issues have altered the company's perspective on gene therapy. Quite the contrary, Graham emphasized during an interview at Roche's Basel, Switzerland headquarters. Gene therapy holds immense promise for human health. The challenge is that it's more complex than initially anticipated. Even before the Elevidys challenges, Roche had announced a significant restructuring of Spark Therapeutics, a gene therapy unit acquired for $4.3 billion in 2019. This overall followed Roche's decision to discontinue a hemophilia A gene therapy project, a key focus of the Spark acquisition. Roche's commitment to gene therapy stands out amidst the broader industry retreat, with Pfizer discontinuing its FDA-approved hemophilia B treatment, Becvez, and Bluebird Bio, once valued at $10 billion, being sold for a mere $49 million upfront. Despite these setbacks, Graham remains optimistic. I am convinced that we will eventually master gene therapy, delivering impactful treatments to patients, she stated. During Roche's first half earnings event, CEO Thomas Schoenecker highlighted that 760 boys have successfully received Elevidys in the ambulatory setting. Graham expressed hope for finding a viable path forward for the drug, emphasizing the need for regulatory discussions and confidence in the product's risk-benefit profile. However, not all regulators are convinced, as the European Medicines Agency, EMA, announced it would not recommend Elevidys for approval in the ambulatory setting. Roche plans to continue working with the EMA to explore potential avenues. Roche's pipeline also includes prasinezumab, a Parkinson's disease prospect. Despite a phase 2 study failure, Roche plans a phase 3 trial, citing long-term follow-up data suggesting benefits in early-stage Parkinson's. Graham also discussed Roche's approach to obesity treatments, including the decision not to advance CT-173 into human trials. However, she sees potential in combinations and highlighted the acquisition of Zealand Pharma's amylin analog, petrelintide, and the potential of GLP-1 GIP receptor agonist CT-388. Regarding M&A focus, Graham remained elusive, but emphasized Roche's ongoing search for transformative assets across its 5 core therapeutic areas. She expressed excitement about phase 2 results for the BTK inhibitor fenebrutinib in MS and the potential of afimkibart in immunology. In summary, while challenges persist, Roche's commitment to gene therapy and innovative treatments remains unswerving, sparking both hope and debate in the medical community. What are your thoughts on the future of gene therapy and Roche's strategies? FDA investigates death linked to Sarepta's Elevidys. What you need to know. Imagine the shock and concern that rippled through the medical community when news broke that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, was launching an investigation into the death of an 8-year-old boy who had received Sarepta Therapeutics' groundbreaking muscular disorder gene therapy, Elevidys. This tragic event, which occurred on June 7th, sent shockwaves through the pharmaceutical world, causing Sarepta's shares to plummet by more than 3% in extended trading. But here's where it gets controversial. The patient, who had Duchenne muscular dystrophy, was treated with Elevidys, but was not part of any clinical trial. Roche, Sarepta's partner outside the U.S., reported that the death occurred in Brazil and that the treating physician had assessed it as unrelated to the gene therapy. Roche emphasized that the death was reported to local health authorities as required by regulations, and that they were continuing to gather and analyze information from this event. However, This is not the first time Sarepta has faced intense regulatory scrutiny. Earlier, 2 non-ambulatory teenage boys died due to acute liver failure associated with Elevidys, and a 51-year-old man who had received Sarepta's experimental gene therapy SRP-9004 also succumbed to the same condition. These incidents have raised serious questions about the safety and efficacy of these therapies. In response to these concerns, Sarepta announced late on Monday that it would comply with the FDA's request to pause all shipments of Elevidys in the United States. Roche, too, paused shipments of Elevidys in some countries outside the U.S. following the FDA's request, which came after the company disclosed the death of the patient on SRP-9004. This situation highlights the delicate balance between innovation and safety in the field of gene therapy. While these therapies hold immense promise for treating previously untreatable conditions, they also come with significant risks. And this is the part most people miss. The FDA's investigation and the subsequent pause in shipments underscore the importance of rigorous testing and monitoring in the development of new therapies. It's a reminder that even the most promising treatments must be thoroughly vetted to ensure they are safe for patients. As we continue to push the boundaries of medical science, it's crucial to remember that patient safety must always be the top priority. So, what do you think? Should the FDA be more stringent in its approval process for gene therapies? Or is the current system adequate? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's spark a discussion on this critical issue. Elevidys gene therapy for Duchenne, FDA investigation, safety update, and what families should know. In a startling turn of events, Sarepta Therapeutics, a leading force in precision genetic medicine for rare diseases, has issued a clarifying statement regarding the tragic death of an 8-year-old Duchenne muscular dystrophy Duchenne patient who received their groundbreaking gene therapy, Elevidys. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite initial concerns, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, determined that the death was unrelated to the treatment. As Naomi Kresge reported in Bloomberg News, Roche Holding AG, which markets Sarepta's therapy outside the U.S., confirmed that the boy, who was not part of a clinical trial, did not die as a result of Elevidys. The death was reported to health authorities, but Roche declined to disclose the boy's exact age or provide more details about the case. Sarepta promptly reported this incident to the FDA on June 18, 2025, using the FDA's post-marketing electronic database, FAERS. Patient safety remains Sarepta's top priority, and they adhere strictly to the highest safety standards and regulatory transparency. Elevidys is the sole approved gene therapy for Duchenne, a devastating, progressive, and ultimately fatal disease affecting families and children. This therapy uses an adeno-associated virus, AAV-based gene transfer method for intravenous infusion to address the root cause of Duchenne, mutations in the DMD gene that prevent the production of dystrophin protein. By delivering a transgene that codes for Elevidys micro-dystrophin in skeletal muscle, the treatment aims to modify the disease progression. Approved for use in patients age 4 and above, whether ambulatory or non-ambulatory, Elevidys offers hope to those battling Duchenne. However, the approval for non-ambulatory patients is based on accelerated criteria, yet the expression of Elevidys micro-dystrophin in skeletal muscle. Continued approval will depend on demonstrating clinical benefits in subsequent trials. It's crucial to understand the safety profile of Elevidys. The therapy is contraindicated in patients with deletions in exon 8 and/or exon 9 of a DMD gene. Potential side effects include infusion-related reactions, such as hypersensitivity or anaphylaxis, which require close monitoring and immediate medical intervention if they occur. Elevidys can also cause acute liver injury, especially in patients with pre-existing liver conditions, necessitating regular liver function tests and corticosteroid treatment before and after administration. Another significant concern is immune-mediated myositis, particularly in patients with deletions in exon 8 and/or exon 9. Symptoms may include severe muscle weakness, swallowing difficulties, and breathing problems. Patients experiencing these symptoms should contact their healthcare provider immediately and may require additional immunomodulatory treatments. Myocarditis, characterized by inflammation of the heart muscle, has also been observed in some patients following Elevidys infusion. Monitoring of cardiac markers, such as troponin I, is essential, especially for those with pre-existing heart conditions. Patients should seek medical attention if they experience chest pain or shortness of breath. Pre-existing immunity against AAV-RH74, the vector used in Elevidys, can interfere with the therapy's effectiveness. Testing for anti-AAV-RH74 antibodies is recommended before treatment, and Elevidys is not advised for patients with elevated antibody levels. Common adverse reactions reported in clinical trials include vomiting, nausea, liver injury, fever, and low platelet counts. It's important for patients and caregivers to be aware of these potential side effects and to report any unusual symptoms to the FDA or Sarepta Therapeutics. Sarepta Therapeutics is dedicated to advancing genetic medicine for rare diseases, with a strong focus on Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Their commitment to patient safety and innovative treatments continues to drive their mission to improve and extend the lives of those affected by these conditions. What do you think about the controversy surrounding the patient's death and its implications for gene therapy safety? We encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below.